everyone and welcome to this video. How are you doing? Today's video is going to be yet again on another seasonal anime of this fall season, and it's going to be about Akudama Drive. Akudama Drive is an original anime, which means that there's no manga or video game or light novel behind it. The story was made especially for this anime, and it has 12 episodes. This story was created by Kazutaka Kodaka, which is also the creator of Danganronpa. Very famous, right? It was released on October 8th, 2020 on Crunchyroll and is still ongoing. I would put this animation in the seinen genre since it's pretty graphic, violent, and kind of psychological. The 2D animation was made by the Pierrot Studio that also made Boruto and Black Clover and Kingdom. And the 3D animation was made by Asahi Production, who also did Gangsta and Berserk. The second movie, not the recent series. I need to make that clear because, well, if you know, you know. The story is installed in a cyberpunk universe where a big war happened between the Kansai region and the Kanto region, two regions of Japan, resulting in the Kanto region taking its independence. And in this context, the government and the police, police forces, lost a lot of their influence, a lot of power, and it allows criminality to go up. And those new criminals, criminals of this era, are called Akudamas. So we follow the story of a young girl who literally doesn't have a name, at least she doesn't have a name yet, but a function, which is why we call her Ippanjin, which means commoner in Japanese, because, well, she's just an ordinary girl. She gets involved in a kind of fishy business because she was at the wrong place at the wrong time and now has to work with 6 criminals, Akudamas. Hakobiya for courier, Kenkaya for brawler, Haka for hacker, Isha for doctor, Shinpira for hoodlum, who's actually the other normal one of all of them. He's he got involved a little bit the same way as Ippanjin. Sachijinki for cutthroat, and actually there's a mistake in this translation here because Sachijinki actually means murderer or assassin, not cutthroat, but I guess that it was a little bit weird to call someone murderer, so they must have changed it to cutthroat. Those people are practically all huge psychopaths who were hired by a mysterious guy who communicates with them through a black robot cat. To blend among all those personalities, Ippanjin decides to pretend that she's also a Akudama and says that she's actually a scammer, and thus her status evolves from being Ippanjin to Sagishi, which means scammer in Japanese. All of them are actually unable to leave or fail that job because they actually all have this necklace who can actually explode in case they do. And yes, it's exactly as in Suicide Squad. Good memories, right? I think this anime so far is good. The character design is kind of the same as the one in Danganronpa. Especially concerning the eyes. There's of course a lot of differences, but it's kind of obvious since it's not the same studio that made Danganronpa and Akudama Drive. I feel in Akudama Drive the characters look a little bit more mature. Regarding the background, it's really detailed and it's a really good thing because it helps setting the overall vibe of the show and makes the whole thing much more believable, which allows us to get in the story right away. So that's one good point. For the story is really promising in my opinion. What I understood is that it was going to be about the aftermath of the war that happened, the war that I talked about earlier. Apparently the Kansai population seems to think that Kanto is that kind of utopia, which apparently is not really the case. And think that it's why they are worshipping this Shinkansen, like that train, which is the only link that we have between Kanto and Kansai. And by the way, this Shinkansen is like a real thing in Japan, except that there's not only one of them, but a lot more. And it doesn't link only Kanto and Kansai, but a lot more regions. Actually, like all of Japan, it's a really fast train and stuff. So yeah, it's a real thing in Japan. We can only guess that there's a lot of political issues surrounding this Shinkansen, and I really hope that they're going to touch on that a little bit, because I feel like it'd be really interesting to talk about. Another really interesting thing about this anime is like the dynamic between Sagishi and the other characters, because those criminals all have like crazy personalities, right? And like they kill without having like second thoughts or any kind of remorse, and some of them actually like killing people. So it's really interesting to see how someone normal interacts with them. And talking about normal, in this environment, she's not normal anymore. She's actually like abnormal around those people. She can't kill people instead of like unlike them, so she's the abnormal one. So here in this ecosystem, like between those seven, she's actually the freak. With them, the concept of normal is reversed. And the questions that we can ask ourselves are going to be, well, how is she going to react to that? Is she going to reject it totally, or is she going to adapt? We can even wonder if she's going to become this little Jiminy Cricket, like the little conscience of the group, or she either is going to become like them. Because so far she witnessed them like killing multiple people and in a really kind of cruel way, and she didn't seem to be, yeah, she was bothered, but like she's still talking with them in a really normal way and doesn't seem to think that they are actually like wrong people. She actually cares about all of those people, so yeah, it's kind of fishy. And maybe the fact that Satsujinki took a liking to her is actually an indicator that, in fact, she's not as like sane as she might think she is, or as other might think she is. Maybe it's an indicator of her being much more than that and a little bit more twisted, because like he's the more twisted of the band, so it could be a lead. There's also this other character, which I think is really important too, Hakobiya. We know that something is happening around him, but we don't know really anything yet. It's a total blur. I think that so far he's the one who talked the least among like the group, and he's also the one who's less keen to just kill anyone without regard. So maybe he's kind of normal and he took that path because he has a reason, and we are going to discover that reason. That could be interesting, and I think that's the road, that's the way we're going forward to. I could speculate like that for hours, but yeah, I really like it and I feel like it's going to be really interesting, and I already hope for a second season. The only question that I might have is about like the police, because in the last episodes we've seen characters that seem to be taking the role of police officers, and they're pretty strong. And even though we were told earlier that the police were kind of overtaken, yeah, I'm wondering what's happening with that. I mean, they're called executioners, executioners, yeah. But like if they represent the law, to me it's the police, right? Maybe it's like another organization that has another name, but yeah, I'm just wondering. It's nitpicking, I know, but I'm just wondering. It doesn't really bother me, but it's a question that I have. Anyways, the last episode to date is the fourth one, and in that one they broke into that Shinkansen that we talked about earlier to get into its vault, where they find something very interesting. I don't really want to spoil what it is because I feel like it's gonna provoke a lot of changes in the story. So I feel like I might keep that for myself. We also learned that during this war that I talked about earlier, a big like bomb was launched, resulting in this like this space, like this area between Kansai and Kanto, being called the absolute quarantine zone. So I guess that the bomb was nuclear or chemical or something like that. Followed by a zone called the decontamination zone, which actually kills whatever comes out of the quarantine zone. And as I talk, that's where our heroes are, like in the quarantine zone. So they're in deep shit, and actually they can't like go back, or that's what was told. But so yeah, that's where we at. I also want to mention this little like skit of this like two puppets talking, and I can't help wondering if they're gonna have a much bigger role in the anime, because well, I saw that in another one and I really thought that it was an amazing idea. And I know I might be over analyzing thing here, but yeah, that's my brain. But yeah, that's my take on Akudama Drive. It's absolutely a must for this full season. You need to watch it. I really recommend it. Yeah, that's all I had to say. If you like this video, make sure to like this video, comment to share your opinion. That's what the comment section is for. And subscribe if you want more content like this. Bye!